Finance and Budget will now reconvene, and we have with us Ms. Darlene White, the Director of Risk Management for Cuyahoga County, and we have read Resolution 2017-0232, the Highland Group contract, into the record, and we would appreciate if you could present it for us.
Sure. Thank you, and I apologize for the tardiness. Yes, this is the insurance contract that we have with our insurance and risk management broker, the Highland Group. This would be an amendment to the contract that that was put on last year. It was approved for 1 year with renewable up to 2 additional years, and so this would be the first year of renewing the contract. And this is for all the insurance that we obtain through the county, such as except with the exception of health insurance. It doesn't entail that at all, but it has all property insurance, cyber insurance, directors and officers, and those types of liability coverages.
So, Ms. White, this contract includes providing that insurance coverage, not just risk management advice. Is that correct?
That is correct.
It includes both the risk management advice and providing the coverages that we need. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And when we bid this out last year, was it bid competitively, and how many people applied for this contract?
It was an RFQ, and there were 3 brokerage firms that responded and came in and interviewed, and Highland, who was previously involved, had the most qualifications that best suited the county's needs.
And how does the cost for the coming year compare with what we're paying this year?
It's the same, no increase.
Questions by my colleagues? Ms. Simon.
At some point when this, assuming the amendment goes through, at what point would you begin a bidding process again? Because we're extending this for a year, obviously, because the cost remains neutral or the same.
Correct.
At some point, we're going to entertain additional bids, right? At some point in the future.
Similar to what we did this year, after assessing the services and the coverages mid-year, I spoke with the law director in terms of what the executives intent would be of going out to bid on this again, and we decided that we would just, since we were satisfied with everything that was going on and the premiums would remain the same, we would stay with them. So similar to that, we would conduct that assessment mid-year as well in 2018 to see whether or not we want to go out to bid for 19 or not.
And then after, if we did the renewal for 19, that's as far as we're allowed to renew. So it's only going to be a question of, do we go out for bid next year, or do we extend it for 1 year and then go out to bid? It's one or the other. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Other questions? Councilman John.
When do these go out for bid?
Mid-year,
Could you define mid-year for me, please?
like June.
And when did you have the response cutoff date?
I believe it was the end of July, August, if I'm not mistaken, of last year.
We mean the year we're currently in.
This year, we didn't take it out to bid. It was last year that we took it out to bid.
When did you decide that you were not taking it out to bid this year?
This year is about June when we assessed whether or not we were satisfied with everything that was under this current contract.
The assessment was done when?
June.
Okay, and so you had made your decision by June 30th?
Correct.
And we're now seeing this 6 months later?
Correct.
And you need us to move on expedited response to this?
That is true. And I take full responsibility for that. I was thinking in terms of, this is the only contract that I actually do. So I was thinking that it would just be approved for next year as opposed to taking it back through the process, because it had the option to renew it every year. but
So this is the only contract you do that has to come before this council, and we're 6 months after you've made the decision that you already were going to go forward with this.
that is correct, Councilman.
So it took 6 months. Can you send me a list of coverages? I'm not comfortable with the entire time of the process. I'd like to see what we're covered on, because some of this is coverage for us as we sit up here, I believe. If you're talking about directors and officers and parties and other individuals that we might have to be worried about how this coverage goes into play, I'd like to see what all the coverages are that we're talking about here.
Sure, I'll
Please
provide
send
you
it
with
to us.
that.
Thank you.
Could you please provide that to the clerk to distribute to all the members?
Sure.
Yeah, I would like to see that too, in light of the questions that I raised on the stop loss contract. Would want to see as to whether we actually need all the coverages that we're getting.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, what is the impact if we just take this as the normal third reading?
The policy, some of the policies expire at the end of this year, the 31st.
Lapse.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Would you like to see all of the expenses as it relates to this particular contract, not just the premiums that's
Yeah.
associated with the coverages?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Any other, Ms. Baker?
Premiums may lapse, but is there a grace period?
I suppose if we were to ask the carrier, the broker for that, we would have that put in place.
Okay.
Ms. Simon?
So I understand this, there was a decision made in June 30th, perhaps not to go out to bid. And the assumption is that you were going to carry on with this carrier
Correct.
through the administration. And you believe that you did not have to get councilmatic approval to be able to amend the contract? Is that what I'm hearing?
That was an error on my part, correct?
Did you have discussions with the law director at the time about this?
No, not directly. Mm-mm.
How did you find out that you needed us?
Through casual discussions, actually, with one of the transactional attorneys in the law department, and that's when I realized that I had not started this process as I should have.
Okay.
Between now and next Tuesday's meeting, or a week from Tuesday's meeting, can you verify whether they will give you a waiver on all these policies?
Sure.
Because that's not unusual. What is unusual that we'd wait to this 11th hour? Thank you.
Sure.
I appreciate the concerns, but I would also say that I don't remember other cases where we've had contracts that were delayed because the administration didn't know that they needed council approval. I kind of take this as an isolated incident, and I'm not inclined to make it into too much of a big deal. I would ask if there's a motion to refer. I think we should go ahead and refer it to council for consideration on the 12th. Given the circumstances, we're going to look at the answers to the questions we get, and I can't guarantee what the council will do on the 12th, but I think we should move it. Is there a motion to do so?
I'll move that this, are we moving this to the next council for a recommended
Second reading-
suspension?
For second
readings?
reading suspension.
I
so
make
we
that
can get it
motion.
out this year. And is there a second?
Based on your question, though, now that we're into the discussion portion, when did you get your legal advice in regards to this? That you were needed to come before this body?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it was legal advice. It was just through casual discussion. It was mid-November, as soon as I put this item into on-base.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to refer Resolution 2017-0232 to the full council for consideration under second reading suspension. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it, it's referred. Please be sure to get the information to us as quickly as possible so that we can enhance the prospects of being able to complete this on December 12th.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, fine. Any miscellaneous business? Anyone else signed in for public comment?
No, no one else has signed in.
There being no further business before this committee, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your time and attention.
That was the